Just before I sent the message for you to cross the river, Seleucus guaranteed your safety in the camp and said that you would be allowed to address the troops. He's very keen to come to an accommodation with you.
I'm sure he is. He's the most ambitious of Perdiccas's officers. I almost like him.
And I'm sure that he almost likes you.
Ptolemy threw his head back, laughing. I'll be needing as many almost friends as I can get. I imagine he'll be looking for something lucrative. Satrap of Babylonia, for example. Should the post become vacant and we get rid of Archon. Perdiccas's nominee, that is.
I would say that is exactly what he wants. Like all ambitious men, he can see opportunity even in defeat.
Perdiccas and his allies may have lost to me here in the south, but not in the north. They still haven't heard that Eumenes defeated and killed Craterus and Neoptolemus.
A conspiratorial smile played on Aridaeus's lips. If they had, then I'd wager that they would not be in the process of assassinating their leader, should he not agree to talks.
Ptolemy shook his head, frowning, unable to suppress the regret he felt at the murder of a fellow member of Alexander's bodyguard, 7 in number. That it should really come to this, and so soon. Once we were brothers in arms, conquering the known world. And now we slip blades between each other's ribs, and all because Alexander gave Perdiccas his ring, but then refused to name a successor. Perdiccas the half-chosen now becomes Perdiccas the fully dead. He leaned over and clapped Aridaeus on the shoulder. And I suppose, my friend, that you and I must bear a lot of responsibility for his death.
Aridaeus spat. He brought it upon himself by his arrogance. Ptolemy could see the truth of that statement. In the 2 years since Alexander's death in Babylon, Perdiccas had tried to keep the empire together by assuming command in a most high-handed manner, purely because Alexander had given him the great ring of Macedon on his deathbed, saying, "To the strongest," but neglecting to say exactly whom he meant by that. Ptolemy had realized immediately that the great man had sown the seeds of war with those 3 words, and he suspected that he had done so deliberately, so that none would outshine him. If it had been an intentional ploy, it had worked magnificently, for the previously unthinkable had happened. Macedonian blood had been spilt by former comrades in arms within 18 months of his passing. Indeed, war had flared almost immediately, as the Greek states in the west had rebelled against Macedonian rule, and the Greek mercenaries, stationed in the east, had deserted their posts and marched back west. More than 20,000 had joined in one long column and headed home to the sea. They had been massacred to a man at Seleucus's instigation at the Caspian gates, as a warning to others seeking to take advantage of Alexander's death. In the west, the Greek rebellion had been crushed by Antipatros, the aged regent of Macedon, but not without considerable difficulty, having been defeated and forced to withdraw to the city of Lamia, and there endure a winter siege. It had been the vain and foppish Leonatus who had come to his aid, breaking the siege, but he had lost his life in the process, thus becoming the first of Alexander's 7 bodyguards to die. Antipatros had regrouped back in Macedon, and with the help of Craterus, Macedon's greatest living general, the darling of the army, had defeated the rebellion and imposed a garrison and a pro-Macedonian oligarchy upon Athens the city at its head. With the west secured, Antipatros had then declared war on Perdiccas for marrying and then repudiating his daughter Nicaea, at the same time as conspiring to marry Cleopatra, the full sister of Alexander. And thus the first war between Alexander's successors had commenced, with the diminutive Eumenes, Alexander's former Greek secretary and now satrap of Cappadocia, supporting Perdiccas. But Eumenes had been unable to prevent Antipatros and Craterus crossing the Hellespont into Asia due to the defection of Cletus, Perdiccas's admiral. Underestimating Eumenes' martial abilities, Antipatros and Craterus had made the fatal mistake of dividing their forces. Craterus had been dispatched to deal with the Greek, whilst Antipatros had headed south to confront Perdiccas. But the wily little Eumenes had shown a degree of generalship that had not been expected of a man who had held no significant military command, and, despite his former ally, Neoptolemus, switching sides, he had defeated Craterus, killing the great general and the treacherous Neoptolemus in the process. This fact was, as yet, only known to Ptolemy, as it was his navy that controlled the Nile, and he had prevented the news getting quickly through to Perdiccas's camp. Had they known of their victory in the north, and that Antipatros's army was now between them and Eumenes, their willingness to make peace might have been severely dampened.